I was reading an article not so long ago about the training of police officers and came across this story. At a training session for newly recruited police cadets, the rather tough sergeant was giving the young cadets a pretty hard time. He turned to one of them and he said, "Now, it's pouring with rain and you're walking down the street on duty. At a set of traffic lights you see a car which is being driven by a wanted criminal. You stop the car, and as you look through the driver's side window you notice that the person sitting in the passenger seat has a gun. Just at that moment, a fight breaks out on the other side of the street between two men in their early 20s, and a crowd is gathering around egging them on. You're then distracted by the sounds of breaking glass in the house immediately behind you. At which point, two dogs start a vicious fight at the end of the street, which could easily turn into a threat to the people walking down that street. Suddenly, a woman comes up to you with a street directory, asking the way to the nearest hospital because her sister, who is waiting in the car, is about to give birth to a baby. And all of a sudden, you hear the desperate cries for help from a man apparently drowning in the river on the opposite side of the nearby traffic lights. And then your attention is drawn to some children setting off a load of firecrackers in a nearby shop doorway. What action would you take?" The young cadet thought for a moment and he replied, "I'd take off my uniform and mingle with the crowd, sir." Well, our next carol has been especially arranged for tonight's concert. And we might ask at this point if we can have the lights on in the auditorium, because it involves your participation, if you will. It's set to the well-known tune of the 12 Days of Christmas, but with words appropriate to the celebration of Christ's birth. The orchestration has been done by Brian Hogg of Yarra Valley Anglican School, who's unable to be here tonight, I understand, because it is their school concert. But we're going to ask the choir and the orchestra to perform it for us and for you to join in at the various points that you feel it's appropriate. The tune is very similar. In fact, it's almost exactly the same as the one that we have known it to be when we've sung the 12 Days of Christmas in another version. But it starts off in a slightly slower key, slower tempo and a minor key, and you will pick it up, I'm sure, as we go through. Listen out for some of the lovely orchestrations that Brian Hogg has put into it to illustrate some of the words that are set to it. We'll ask you to remain seated, and you may find that by the time we get to about day 6 or day 7, the idea is caught on. Let's have a go, shall we, Lawrence?